Here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season. And if they want to make the deep run to the playoffs, they're going to need players. And Ben Hutton's a good defenseman that can help.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
I was very tempted to just put defense.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline? And then Mason Crosby's 55-yard field goal or something like that. That was a good one.
Come on, Austin and I have been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I just do not see Harden putting in the same amount of effort into each game. And I honestly believe that's why he hasn't won a championship yet.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I swear we didn't script that.
Fultz is injured, and he really hasn't lived up to the potential of being the number one overall pick when he was selected by the Sixers.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
How is Joe Burrow going to get the ball to them if his butt is already on the ground and he finally decides who to throw to?
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
And then I want to talk about the Fernando Tatis extension, because that really surprised me. Because he's so young. You see the Chiefs beefing up their O-line, and then you have the Buccaneers beefing up their defensive line.
Ingrained in the life of Tom Brady and what winning actually looks like, I think will be a very good move for Bruce Arians and this Bucs organization.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. After probably the best weekend of playoffs that we've had for a while. It was amazing. Everything came down to a walk-off win. It was incredible. There are a few things I didn't like, but overall, it was great. Just the competitiveness and just how close the games were. They were all close. But we're going to start with the first one of the weekend, Austin, and that is Titans and the Bengals game. And we're going to talk about a game-defining play that we both thought of. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so first, just on the game itself, I thought that both teams played very well. Joe Burrow just played less bad compared to Ryan Tannehill. Joe Burrow didn't play his best game, but that's not what's required from a player from a quarterback who needs to win a game. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks win close games without having the best game of their life. Tom Brady's had many of those. Many other quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo this weekend, and last weekend for that matter. He hasn't had that many great games, but he's winning games, and that's all that really matters. Joe Burrow didn't have a touchdown pass, and he threw a pick, but he didn't help them on that drive to put them in field goal range. But the biggest play in my mind was the pick right after the huge A.J. Brown pass. So Ryan Tannehill goes a 40-yard bomb to A.J. Brown. He makes a huge catch. The next play on a screen pass, which I don't really blame. Screen passes I normally don't blame on the quarterback. It's kind of like just set your feet, throw immediately. You don't get to read the defense. But him throwing the pick there, I do think it was a turning point because I believe the Titans would have gained all the momentum and eventually would have won the game if that pick never happens.
Yeah, I also have a pick, but it's the final pick that happened that set up the field goal. I was intrigued by what the Titans were doing. They were being pretty slow. I was like, why are you doing this? And then they were passing, and they weren't rushing to the line. But that pick sets up the game-winning field goal, and it's one of the things. So that's my pick.
Yeah, it seems like the team as a whole was trying to go to overtime, and then simultaneously wasn't. It's kind of confusing, but if you're going to go to overtime, go to overtime. And if you're not going to go to overtime, don't go to overtime. Hurry up to the line, try to get a play in. That's a good play, and not try to force a ball to where it's triple covered. But yeah, I definitely think that is a big play. But I do think the momentum shifter was the one that I said. But yeah, both were definitely big parts of the game.
Yeah, both involved the two interceptions out of the total 3 by Ryan Tannehill, which is very uncharacteristic of him. I was just surprised he threw so many picks. And I'm looking at the stats right now, and I was surprised with how Derrick Henry um, only had 62 yards. He had 20 carries, but I thought he would be healthier because they did give him the extra week off, and it just surprised me. So I guess they relied more on Tannehill for this game.
Yeah, but Deontay Foreman also had about 60 yards too. He had an amazing big long run. So their running game wasn't the issue. It really was the picks. I don't think Derrick Henry was 100% healthy, but healthy enough to be a contributor. And their running attack did play well enough to win the game. It was more on the arm of Ryan Tannehill that I believe the game kind of set back, and also the offensive coordinator calling some questionable plays, like a screen. Like I said, I don't blame that on Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill threw 3 picks, but he mentally only threw 2 because on the screen you turn and you throw, you're not worried about what the defense is. Now he could have obviously audibled, or maybe he was a little bit confused, and that's in my opinion on the offensive coordinator calling that play. But yeah, he uncharacteristically did throw 2 terrible picks, and that really did cost him in the end.
Now we go to the Niners and Packers game. Mine is the block punt, because that's the only reason that's how the Niners scored. I didn't think the Niners offense could do it, and they couldn't do it. They got set up with good field position by getting that block punt return for a touchdown. They also blocked a field goal, and then they just relied on their kicker for the other 6 points.
Yeah, my biggest play is the Aaron Jones play, the long catch. Aaron Jones didn't go out of bounds. For some reason, he cuts in towards the guy that was trying to tackle him, which I thought was very, very, very questionable and not the greatest mental decision. I think that's what cost us the game because if he goes out of bounds, we have a chance of scoring a touchdown there. The game was very sloppy. It was snowing. The ground was slippery. It wasn't going to be an offensive powerhouse show either way. We knew that coming in. That's just how Lambeau works sometimes. And the win was not crazy, but enough to where it did affect passes. But yeah, him not going out of bounds, giving Aaron Rodgers another chance to score a touchdown on that drive, I do think was the biggest part of the game because if they score a touchdown there, the block punt doesn't matter. Things happen, and while our special teams coordinator, because I'm a Packers fan, special team coordinator should be fired because that was the worst performance I've ever seen in my entire life by a special teams in a game ever. Uh, Especially since on the game-winning field goal they only had 10 guys on the field. Like that's just a mental error that I can't get my head around because again, that's just not trying. Like you gotta understand, like you come into the game with a plan and to execute it so poorly is honestly unfathomable. But yeah, I'd say Aaron Jones not going out of bounds, not giving Rodgers another chance because we did have another timeout afterwards to go for the end zone with Devontae Adams or some other target. I do think was the biggest part of the game because I do blame the special teams. I do think the offense could have scored more points.
Speaking of the special teams, they were ranked last
Yeah.
out of all the teams in special teams. And you don't have to be the best special teams. While it does help, you just need a competent special teams when you have great sides of the ball like the Packers did with offense and the defense.
Yeah, the 2008 Chargers were one of the greatest, or no, 2009, 2010, 2008, I believe, were a Chargers team that had the best offense in the league by yards and defense in the league by yards. Best team in the league. But they had the worst special teams and missed the playoffs. So it just sometimes it comes down to special teams. Your special teams doesn't have to win you the game, but it can't lose you the game, and that's what teams like the Chargers did back then, and obviously the Packers learned throughout this performance, where I believe the offense and defense both played well enough to win the game, considering the circumstances. The special teams just lost it, and while I don't believe the special teams had the most impactful play, you can only have so many errors before a team wins a game. Again, this is the NFL. All professional sports leagues, all the teams are good enough to win any game, so you can't have too many errors.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about two of like the surprising teams once we get to the conference championships after we finish reviewing these games. Now we go to Rams and Bucks. It was exciting mostly because of Tom Brady. It was a 2-digit lead for most of the game, but I did not think of once of turning off the game because you can't. It's Tom Brady. And he's come back before, and they did come back. And the play that seals it off for me is the final play is Cooper Kupp getting wide open for Matthew Stafford to hit him and getting in field goal range. That's the play, because Cooper Kupp was the last one to touch the ball to set up the game-winning field goal, and it was a point where the Rams made the play, and there wasn't enough time for Tom Brady to get back on the field, because if he did, Bucks would probably win the game.
Yeah, I liked it. So far, we all had different plays. Mine's a missed field goal by Ryan Suckup. If that missed field goal is made, they go to overtime no matter what. And maybe the defense wouldn't have blitzed there. Maybe they would have played a lot more passive, which I believe was necessary in that moment. But yeah, I believe the missed field goal, again, while Matt Gay did have a missed field goal, Ryan Suckup's missed field goal I do think is the biggest moment, because again, if the team's going to make a mistake, you have to capitalize, and you missing one and them missing one's not capitalizing on anything. So I believe making that other field goal, Ryan Suckup, I do believe that was the biggest time where I'm like, that hurt, and they weren't able to overcome it.
Yeah, they weren't, and I don't buy Tom Brady retiring after that game.
Yeah, we'll have a whole episode dedicated to players we think are going to retire. Aaron Rodgers, maybe Tom Brady, maybe other guys in other positions. But for right now, just this conversation, yeah, I agree. I don't believe the greatest winner possibly in sports retires on a loss.
Yeah, so now we will go to the final game, which I just absolutely love, but it does leave a sour taste in my mouth because of the overtime rules. Hopefully, this is the game that finally changes the rules. You just need to give a possession to each team, and it's fixed. And then you can give one possession, and then from there, they each have a possession, but you have to go for two. And then it's a short game.
Well,
yeah.
I don't agree with the ending part there. I just believe both teams get the ball and that's it. Because all you really need is the second team, whoever's leading after both teams touch the ball, is it. Because then the second team could go for two. After you score a touchdown, okay, now we got to drive down. Now we can go for two to end the game now. Or you could kick it and trust their defense. But it was my least favorite game out of them. I've told Kevin this many times. I love the beginning of the game. The game was awesome until overtime. I told him I turned off the game. I didn't want to watch it. There was no reason. And the last play I watched was the coin toss, which is obviously going to be my game-changing play because that's really what cost them. I could go with the defensive stand, which was one of the worst defensive stands I've ever seen in my entire life by the Bills at the end of the game. But I do think the coin toss was really what decided who won the game. But I'm somebody to where if a movie, a TV show is really good, one of the best movies I've ever seen, or just a decent movie, but the ending is terrible, I hate the movie more than if it was bad throughout all of it. If a movie is just mediocre throughout all of it, I give it a 5, right? But if it is good, great, terrible, it's a 2 or 1. I never want to watch it again because the ending is the most important part. And for it to end the way it did, it's terrible. It's the worst ending in sports, the worst overtime rules in sports, and I don't see any other way that this could be any worse unless it ended in a tie. But that's not possible because it's playoffs.
I don't know. I truly loved it. I love seeing the battle of Mahomes and Allen. I hope we get more games like it. And I just love. Did you see the video of Mahomes running to find Allen after the game?
No, I checked out of the game
Twitter.
after when I didn't want to see anything regarding the game because again I just hated it because of how it ended. You can't end an all-time shootout like that in that fashion.
I agree.
That's another reason why the 2018 AFC Championship game is another game that's like that. But the reason why that one's higher is because everyone believed that the Patriots were terrible, and they're like, okay, let's win another Super Bowl. That's why I love that game so much. But it's another game that won't be in my top 5 either because of that, because it ended in overtime. Same with Super Bowl 51. Even though it was a great comeback, everyone believed the game's over. You can't end it without the Falcons touching the ball. And you can't end it without the Chiefs touching the ball in 2018. And all overtime games in football I can't stand. They're just terrible. I would rather both teams touch the ball in baseball. Both teams get to touch the puck in hockey unless somehow you win the face-off and then go down and score. But at that point, you just deserve to lose. And then in basketball, obviously, it's a 5-minute period where if you're not winning at the end of it, we go on to a second overtime. But yeah, it's just terrible. And kudos to both teams. I don't blame either team. They don't make the rules. Both teams played amazing, and both teams deserve to win. I think all 4 games, everyone deserved to win. That's how close each game was. It wasn't like, oh, one team deserves to win it more than the other, even though a lot of teams were kind of blowing their own chances on every side. Every team, it seemed like, were blowing their own chances, offensively or defensively. Like, no one was commanding throughout, but all teams played well enough to win. And it's just disappointing to end what could have been one of the greatest games ever if it had overtime, fair rules that were fair.
Yeah. And speaking of the 2018 AFC Championship game, after that following off season, the Chiefs proposed an overtime rule change in March 2019 that would guarantee each team get the ball in overtime. They also proposed removing the coin flip altogether. So, but
I
the
disagree
NFL
with that because I believe the coin flip should decide, do we want to get the ball first and then have them try to go for 2, or do we want to go for 2 after we score a touchdown? So I believe the coin toss should still be implemented. I'm totally fine with that. But both teams touch the ball. Whoever's leading after both teams touch the ball wins. If it's tied, then next score wins. And if you didn't go for 2, that's your fault. You didn't go for 2. You didn't take advantage of the opportunity you were given. But man, it's just.
But the
terrible.
NFL hasn't. That's the only bad thing, and I'm curious to see how many viewers were watching that Bills and Chiefs game. But
do you think the viewing went down after when overtime started, or went up, or stayed the same? Because I know at least went down 1.
Well, yeah, I know it went down 1. I think it stayed the same. I can try to see the viewers, but imagine if if it goes to like college overtime rules. Maybe
Those are
the
too
viewership goes
excessive.
up.
I think those are too excessive. College rules, I think, are play rules. They're recess rules. It's just they get the ball, then we get the ball, then they get the ball, then we get the ball. No, there needs to be an end. It's very excessive in a sport that's so aggressive and takes a toll on the body. Eventually, when you're in 20th overtime, because both teams' offenses are so good and both defenses are tired, it can result in excessive injuries. I think both teams touch the ball guaranteed. Leader after both teams touch the ball wins. Now, if the other team scores a touchdown or field goal and wins the game, they win the game because you didn't go for 2. But if you would go for 2 there, you could take advantage and keep your offense on the field and go for 2.
Do you want to guess? I got the viewership. Do you want to guess how many viewers on Sunday were watching the game?
38?
Nope.
Higher or lower?
Higher.
45?
Lower.
42.
Higher.
43.
Yes, 43 million viewers, the most for any event since last year's Super Bowl. And then the 4 games averaged 38.2 million TV and digital viewers, up 20% over last year and the best ever for the league's divisional round of playoffs, which is incredible.
Well, I feel like a lot of people watch the game, but they count the viewers as I watched 1 second of the game and then turned it off. Like, that's a viewer because you looked at it. But like I said, I would be interested. I would be interested to see if the viewership turned down after overtime. Because I know I turned it off. Every overtime game where the offenses are going up and down the field and then the defenses are tired, they're going to score a touchdown. I guaranteed it. I would have been shocked and mad at myself if the Chiefs had not scored, because then I would have been like, oh, wow, I'm wrong. But
I was hoping for a field goal. I was like, field goal. And then I get to see Josh Allen get the ball.
It's just very disappointing.
Yeah. My turning point in the game is the 13-second drive with 3 timeouts, and it was incredible. The way
it was terrible.
It's incredible on the Chiefs. Like Mahomes still had to do it.
He had 3 timeouts
down the field.
I saw that people were comparing it to Dak.
Well, yeah,
which is very disingenuous. That's not the same thing. Where Dak had 14 seconds and no timeouts and needed to score a touchdown, while Patrick Mahomes had 13 seconds, 3 timeouts, and only needed a field goal. Those aren't comparable whatsoever.
I agree. but it's still impressive with Mahomes because I cannot think Brady
Yes.
and no one else, not Josh Allen.
I don't. But here's the
13
thing:
seconds.
if you've
He
watched
still
the
did
mic'd
it.
up, the mic'd up's
He-
the only thing I've seen. Travis Kelsey was the one that's kind of leading the entire drive. It wasn't Mahomes.
But Mahomes has to keep
Eh,
checking, and he has to make a decision really quick. He has to read the defense.
Yeah,
Boom,
when no
out,
one's
and
guarding
then
Travis
timeout.
Kelsey, it's a pretty easy decision. I
That's
would make.
one play. That's one play.
There was
There's
only
still other
2.
plays.
There was 2 plays,
How many?
and the other
Then
one
that's
was
2 other plays. There are still plays where Mahomes has to get the ball out of his hands and move the ball upfield so he can get it, and he moves his team.
It was the Bills playing scared. That's why the Chiefs ended up winning.
Still, to me, that doesn't disgrace Mahomes finding the right receivers.
No, it's just
with
easy when the
13
players.
seconds.
It's wide open.
It's
13
easier, but
seconds is
still
longer than you think it
incredible.
is. 13
It's
seconds is
still
a lot
incredible.
longer. 13 seconds is so much longer than you think it is, especially with 3 timeouts. That's 4 plays.
Really long with Mahomes. If I have Mahomes as my quarterback,
13 seconds is incredibly
with
longer.
Mahomes, yes, he just
No,
proved
with
it.
any QB.
No,
With any QB.
not with Dak. I'm not
All
talking about
Dak
the play.
had to do was find the ref. It wasn't the play call.
There's more with that play call. It's
I don't think you
everything has to
understand.
go right. No, I've thought
You
about it
don't.
multiple
You don't
times.
understand.
Yes, I
You
do.
don't.
Yes,
No, you
I do. Then let me explain. So Dak, everything has to go right in that play. You have to find the ref on time. Dak, move it a little bit forward. It just didn't.
If Dak
make
had 3
sense.
timeouts, he could have ran in and called a timeout.
Yes,
It would have been
but they didn't have timeouts. It's a
if
weird.
Patrick
play call.
Mahomes didn't have a timeout, they would have had 1 play because Tyreek Hill got tackled in bounds, and the game would have been over. They wouldn't be able to call another play. They would have ran out of time, and the game
So
would be over.
you are happy with you would rather rank who you would want 13 seconds. What quarterback?
Brady, and then anyone else is basically on the same level.
Really?
Yes.
It goes Brady, Mahomes,
Everyone else.
and then everyone else.
No.
Dak is not doing that in 13 seconds with 3 timeouts. He's
He
not
was
that.
doing it. I'm a Packers fan arguing about a Cowboys player defending
No,
him.
but
I can't believe
I'm
this.
trying to defend Mahomes and how he's an incredible QB. And that 13
why do
second
we
drive was
always blame the
incredible.
quarterback? What did he do besides throw to a wide open receiver? That's his job, is to hit the wide open receiver. That's his job.
Much more to figuring out. Okay, he's open. Boom! I gotta make the second. There's so
He
many.
didn't even
things
make
you
a
have to
second
figure out.
read. He was looking at
That's one.
Travis Kelsey
Okay,
and then
that's
threw it.
2 plays. There are still other 2 plays, and he has to make.
No,
quick
I don't think you understand.
decisions.
There were 3 plays on that drive. Field goal, Travis Kelsey, Tyreek
Okay,
in
there's
backwards
still
order.
one play, and if he takes too much time, there's not any other time that he can give it to Kelsey.
With the timeout, there is though. You can take 5 seconds on the play.
So
4
5
seconds to
on the play,
read.
8 seconds.
4 seconds. Yeah, that's my point. And another 4 seconds. Oh wait, now you still have 1 second left to kick the
But
field goal.
Does he get enough yardage on each play to get in field goal range?
When you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey, yeah, you do. You do. It just. Patrick Mahomes is a great QB, but he's not the reason the Kansas City Chiefs got in field goal range. I refuse to believe it.
Totally disagree. Patrick Mahomes is the reason.
If you put Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, anybody.
You
Yeah,
need to stop sipping the Kirk Cousins Kool-Aid. That is, I don't know what is.
I don't think you understand. I could have made the throw he did. I could have
Do
made it. It was
All right,
a.
I'll give you 13 seconds, and I will play the same defense as the Bills.
Yeah,
I'll
which
also
is no
kick the
defense.
field goal.
I'll just throw it to a wide open Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey.
I would like to see that, and also I'd like to see Dak do 13 seconds because as much as I love Dak, he's not doing that with 13 seconds, especially the way he was playing on that game against the Niners.
The Bills' defense was gassed, playing very preventive defense, which wasn't even prevent. It was just leave everyone wide open and don't let them score a touchdown when they only need a field goal.
They also
Some of the
didn't
worst defensive
squib it,
planning I've ever
which was
seen.
an interesting thing. They didn't squib the kick.
I don't think that matters.
Well,
Squibbing the
that does
kick.
matter. It takes
No, it
4
doesn't, because
seconds
you can
off
get
the
more
clock.
yards on a squib. I don't like squibbing in that instance. I agree, kicking it
That's
deep
what
out of
the
the end
squib
zone.
is meant to do. Take
No,
time
no,
off the
no,
clock.
no. We've seen many squibs go for a lot of yardage and they're already in field goal range. I agree, especially with the great fast guys that the Chiefs have. I would have kicked it deep. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with it. The squibs are overrated. Squib, you can kick it to a guy, and then it's the same as a return, except they get the ball. If they field it cleanly, they just go for more yardage. You're
It was
banking on the fact
very
that they don't.
interesting.
You're
Play
just
call,
banking on
not
the fact
going
that they
for the
don't
split.
field it cleanly. You're just banking on the fact they don't field it
And
cleanly.
it takes more time.
No, it doesn't, because
Yes,
the
it
clock does
does.
not start until you touch the ball.
Yes. And then do they just go down there to save time, or do they try to run and get as much yards
If
as
they
they can?
ran, they would have ran for 2 seconds and then fell down, and they'd
True.
already be at the 40 instead of the 25.
I don't think
No,
Tyreek Hill was on the return unit, so it wouldn't have taken.
He
too
definitely
long.
was at that time, and if not, McCall Hardman is, and he's just as fast. So the point
It
remains.
probably would have gone to a lineman or a linebacker.
Normally, you don't have linemen. You can't squib kick it that. No, because if you squib kick it to the lineman's on the line of scrimmage. And he catches it at the 45. So yeah, I'd want it to go to my lineman because he just catches it, falls down at the 45, and now I have to go 10 yards.
Wow, it's very interesting. So, and then on to Allen. It was incredible. I love seeing them, and to me, Allen and Mahomes are the number 2 QBs right now. You can argue Allen's number 1. I would argue Mahomes number 1, but I'm pretty set on that. And then Brady's
Recency bias is such a real
That's
thing.
not recency bias.
Yes, it
Those
is.
are the 2 best QBs in the league,
Man.
and they just proved it. Rodgers is not as good Mahomes or Allen. I'm sorry to tell you this, but he's not.
I don't think you understand. The Chiefs' defense was already porous before the game
I don't
started.
care. Allen threw a missile to Gabriel Davis, who had an incredible
When he was
game as
wide
well.
open?
What quarterback? I can think of probably 4 or 5 quarterbacks can make that throw. Allen's one of them.
Tell me Rodgers can't.
Rodgers would make that
visibly.
throw. Rodgers
Okay,
would make that throw, but still, Allen just rocket.
recency.
Few seconds, boom.
You realize they were.
How Allen is amazing, and so is
I'm not
Mahomes.
saying he's not amazing, but he's not top 2.
Yes, he is. They're amazing.
He's barely top 5. Barely.
What? Barely?
I
He's
told you my
definitely
QB
top
rankings
5.
yesterday off air. Russell Wilson is
yeah.
better than he is.
No, Russell Wilson is. Oh my gosh! And then the 4th down play by Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a better runner than Russell Wilson.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I disagree wholeheartedly, but no, no.
Allen's arm is incredible, and that run on
Russell
4th and
Wilson is
15.
better than Josh Allen.
No.
You're telling me one drive, or even one game, you take Josh Allen?
Yes.
Random team.
Yes,
Like not just the
absolutely.
Bills.
I would take Allen over Russell Wilson.
You realize how many times Russell Wilson gets sacked, right? You realize how bad his O-line is?
Have you
You realize,
seen
right?
Josh Allen run and throw that ball? It's incredible.
No, he's not better than Russell Wilson. No.
You and I very disagree on Wilson. Wilson is a fantastic QB, but Allen.
Where is he top 5? No, I already. No, you don't. You don't have him top 5. I already remember. Yeah, you're the guy who. Oh man, I'm surprised I didn't put Josh Allen
You're
below
the guy
Lamar.
that has
I'm very
Kirk
close.
Cousins a 12 QB. Kirk
Mhm.
Cousins needs everything to go his way to be a good QB.
No, it's hard to win when your defense is terrible.
It doesn't matter for Mahomes.
Mahomes' defense
As you
isn't
said.
terrible.
It
They're
was
just
pretty terrible.
below average. And also, he has Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, but we won't talk about that. We won't talk about
Still,
one of the best
Mahomes-
receiving cores.
I don't know. It's one of the best, but definitely not the highest.
Yeah, the only player that Kirk Cousins can throw to is Justin Jefferson and the
And
most
Adam
injured
Thielen?
Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's normally hurt.
Wow.
He's normally hurt. He's normally not on the field.
Well, at least he can hand it off to a fantastic running back in Dalvin Cook.
That's the only reason why Patrick Mahomes gets more yards.
Patrick Mahomes has an incredible arm, and that touchdown. Oh my gosh, that touchdown run! That first touchdown, it was incredible. It's.
Yeah, you
That
and I don't
dive.
see the same with QBs.
Yeah, we don't.
It's because people overrate QBs.
You're
QBs are
calling
not as-
Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes overrated.
Yes.
What? Those are the top. They're amazing QBs. Their arm is incredible. Allen running just surprises me. The way he can hurdle, he's 6'5", and the way he's
I've
so
seen many
agile.
6'5" people before in sports.
Run that fast as Josh Allen, and be that agile.
Yes. Well, what do you think Travis Kelce is?
Can he also throw a ball 75 yards?
Can Josh Allen catch the ball like Travis Kelce? No.
No, but he can still throw.
Travis
Incredible.
Kelce's the best
You
player
didn't
on the
answer my
Chiefs.
question about throwing the ball. Well, can you see Travis Kelce throwing that dart
Can you see
go
Josh
to that
Allen
Davis?
catch the balls that Travis Kelsey can? No, no for either. Travis Kelsey is the best player on the Chiefs. I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
He's the best
You
player on
also
the Chiefs.
die on the hill of Kirk Cousins.
I
You
will.
need to
He's a
choose
top.
your
He's a,
hills
yes.
wisely.
I don't think you understand. His quarterback rating is much higher than whatever your favorite QB
Ah.
is.
Favorite QB?
Unless you're say Rodgers.
No, Mahomes.
This
Look it
season?
up. Look it up. Tell me the
This
QBR.
season?
Tell me the QBR. Tell me. Go
This
look it up.
this
Look it up right now.
season.
Yes. Look up the QBR. Look up the
I'm talking
QBR.
about rating.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's
Rating.
look up the QBR. Mahomes
No,
versus
rating. There's a difference
Cousins.
between rating and QBR.
Okay.
There's
then fine. I'll
QBR
take
and there's
either.
rating.
Mahomes over Cousins.
In both,
Yeah. Let's do both.
in rating, Patrick Mahomes is 98.5. Kirk Cousins is 103.1. That is sad.
Okay.
Mahomes
Let's go to
sad.
QBR.
QBR,
Let's go to QBR.
Patrick Mahomes is higher. 62.1
Cool.
versus
1 for
52.4.
1. You win
Okay,
one,
they're
I
the
win
same. 1-1.
No.
Oh
we're
wow.
not saying
No,
Mahomes
using
and
that
Cousins
logic.
over-
Using
No,
that logic.
You got 1 point right. I got 1 point right.
I don't think you understand. You're rating him like he's terrible.
I'm not saying he's terrible. He's an average QB. Maybe a little bit
Oh
above
my.
average. He's maybe a little bit above average, but
You
I
didn't even
take-
have
I
him
take
above
a lot.
16 in your other list. You didn't have him
Oh, yeah.
16 or above. You had him
Yeah, I
below average.
Yeah,
That
no,
would be below
my-
16. Below
my
16 would be
20
below
to-
average.
My 20 to 16 is average.
But
my
that's below
16
average, right? Of NFL QBs, that would be below average because there's less.
No,
He's below 16.
20 to 16 is my average.
How so? That's below 16, which is the halfway point. Which
Nah,
would be
but
average.
the way I look at my list,
Weird
almost
logic.
13 to 20. Weird logic
13 to
is
20.
dying on the hill of Kirk Cousins being the most underrated QB of all time.
Mhm.
I think I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo than Kirk Cousins. How many Super Bowls has Kirk Cousins been to?
Bro, how many championships has Trent Dilfer won? Let's talk about all
What?
the QBs that have ever won a
Jimmy
Super Bowl.
Garoppolo, I don't know how he's doing it, but he's winning. And he might go to another Super Bowl. It's incredible.
Quarterbacks are the most overrated players in sports. They're overvalued way too much. Way too much.
They are valued in the market, but they are.
No, they're overvalued, period. Tom Brady has brought way too much value to the QB position. He's too good at winning. He's too good. Quarterbacks
good
are
at
not why
winning, but I
quarterbacks are
don't
not
think
why you win
Brady-
championships.
Brady just elevated it, but I think the Troy Aikmans, Steve Young, Joe Montana's.
Troy Aikman? You talking about
Yes.
the worst Hall of Fame QB ever?
What? You did not just say that about Troy Aikman.
I want you to look at any Troy Aikman stat ever and tell me if that's okay.
Troy
It may be-
Aikman took the
Troy
ability of winning
Aikman
the
got
ball off
run
Emmitt
to a
Smith.
championship. Multiple, in
He
fact.
could have had the same yardage as Dan Marino, but he chose to help his team win.
He chose to. Okay.
How many Super Bowls does Dan Marino have? 0. How many Super
That is
Bowls
way
does Dan
too.
Marino have? 0. How many does Troy Aikman have? 3.
I don't think you understand. Troy Aikman has 165 passing touchdowns and 141 picks. He basically threw a touchdown and then a pick.
How many
A touchdown and a pick.
Touchdowns
big.
in Brett. If you want to talk about a quarterback throwing picks, let's talk about Brett Favre.
Okay, let's talk about it. Brett Favre
How
has
many-
like 500 passing touchdowns.
And then how many
500.
interceptions? How many interceptions?
Let me go down. He
I
sold
think it's like
508 picks.
483.
He has 336. So the difference is so much more for Brett Favre. Versus 165, 141. That's equivocally the same. Versus 508, 336. He threw a lot of picks, but the ratio is much different. Much different.
Mm.
And
we'll expand this on. We'll do a quarterback episode because we gotta talk about our predictions.
Oh yeah, you're right. I take Chiefs and Rams. I don't see how either of the
Yes.
teams that played on Saturday have any chance at winning. They're trying to beat themselves.
Yes, I agree. Chiefs. I did a score 41 to 38.
Oh, you were
especially
doing
with-
score?
I did score.
I'll do 38-23 Chiefs,
Okay.
and then Rams 41, 49ers 18.
Okay, I have Niners scoring 17. I have Rams at 34. All right. So those are our predictions. We'll let you know how it is. And once again, we failed to get the bottom. none of the teams we picked are in the championship game, so we'll have to work on it.
Well,
Once again.
luckily, my way far in the past future had
Yes.
Rams, so I'm still holding on to the
You're
very
holding
far
on.
in the back in the past future.
I also
And you have the Chiefs. You have the Chiefs.
So,
Yeah.
1-for-1 again. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.